The truth of the situation is your kids and your grandkids are not going to be all right. They're not. Like, most young people in this country will live lives of relatively severe poverty. That's the way we're going, and that's like the future. And, you know, your kids and your grandkids will probably be poor or very poor. That's the way this country is going, right? Okay, there's a few things I would like to say about this. The first thing is, like, yeah, I'm not as old yet myself. I'm very, very aware that it's often the young that are being put in like a very difficult situation here. So, like, if you take even my family, we're always a poor family, but my parents, you know, were very thrifty, and they lived like a very basic life, the whole life, and they saved up everything they could, and now they basically own their property without a mortgage. You know, they're in their 60s now, and my dad's got a pension. So even though they've been like low income their whole lives, and my mum didn't work for most of her life, they are now able to live like, you know, they still live like they don't live a life of luxury by any means, right? But they're comfortable, they're financially secure. And that's, you know, they don't have any university degrees or any special qualifications, just with one parent working, they've been able to do that. And young people don't have that security, right? So like my sister, she works way harder than my parents ever worked. And she's got like 2 degrees, and she's like struggling to get by sometimes, right? So I think that really captures like what's changed in generations. So I'm totally aware, and I talk about it a lot, of how difficult the situation is for young people now, and how important it is that we find ways to communicate to older people, right? Because we have this voting division in this country where a lot of older people vote for this Conservative government, which means that to some degree they're happy with the way things are going. And that's because I think they're a little bit lied to by the media, saying, oh, if your kids stop buying avocado toast, they're going to be all right. The truth of the situation is your kids and your grandkids are not going to be all right. They're not. Like, most young people in this country will live lives of relatively severe poverty. That's the way we're going, and that's like the future. And, you know, your kids and your grandkids will probably be poor or very poor. That's the way this country is going, right? And I think if older people knew that, they wouldn't accept it. So on the one hand, like, I totally understand that what we are building here is a system which hits the youngest worse and protects often the old. But you need to add, look, there's a lot of very poor old people in this country. So we shouldn't be just like young, old, you know what I mean? But not only that, like, if we allow that to become a division, and especially if we allow, like, to some degree of hatred to fester in that division, if we allow young people to get angry and to hate the old, then that will become a division which prevents all of the ordinary people of this country from coming together to pushing back. And I think that is what the billionaires want, right? They want us to fight each other and be angry at each other. Because if we were not angry at each other, then we would point at the true villains here who are destroying our lives and our economy, which is the super rich. So, of course, like, young people have my sympathy, and this channel is often primarily targeted young people, but it's very, very, very important that we do not exclude or fight against older people. And in fact, a big part of what we have to do is to learn how, if you're young, learn how to communicate to older people who are close to you, like your parents or your grandparents, your friends' parents, your friends' grandparents, what is happening to your generation, and explain to them, look, this is not about us being profligate. This is not about being idiots who spend all our money on cappuccinos. You know, our lives are being destroyed, our futures are being destroyed. Because if the older generation knew that, you know, they want futures for their kids and their grandkids. And then there's real potential there to build a connection. So I see it in the media. Like, another story that was out this week was, pensioners are having their incomes protected while ordinary workers are being screwed. Okay, and be that as it may, you know, that might be true to a degree, but, you know, prices are going up 10% here. Almost everyone's being screwed. And what they want is us to fight each other like cats in a bag, you know what I mean? Because while that is happening, the fastest ever increase in millionaire and billionaire wealth in the country, ever, in the history of this country. It's obvious where we need to get the money from. And if they can get us as poor and ordinary people to fight each other, then they can fucking rob us blind while we're doing that. So it's very, very important that we do not accept any level of division, be that based on age, be that based on ethnicity, be that based on whether you're from the north or from the south, be that based on gender. We cannot accept those divisions, because those are divisions that ultimately are going to keep all of us poor and drive us all further into poverty. So like, the way I see it, you have to build bridges amongst ordinary working people, because that is the only power that ordinary people have. The only power is that there's more of them. And if they start fighting each other instead of fighting the rich, then they lose the only power they have, which means they will lose, which means they will lose their houses, which means they will get driven further and further into poverty. So for me, whenever I hear anything about, oh, the young are getting hit, the old are getting protected, blah, blah, blah. Listen, I understand. Listen, a lot of people are getting hit here, and some people are getting hit worse than others, but we need each other. You know what I mean? You know, we can fight ourselves and we can fight each other till the lifeboat rolls over. It doesn't help anybody. You know what I mean? Like, people need to find ways to build bridges and unite across division. And yeah, I think that's important. So, and you know, we have younger and older viewers on the channel, and you know, we have men and we have women and we have people of all different races and ethnicities, and that's what we will need. So it's very important that we stick with that.
I like that. That was good.